Every single day, life throws challenges at you. Some people freeze, some people quit, but then there are those who keep moving forward no matter what comes their way. And it's not because they're smarter, richer, or luckier. It's because of the habits they've built into their daily lives. Habits that sharpen their mind, fuel their body, and protect their peace. If you want to be unstoppable, it's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating it every single day with the choices you make. The first habit is starting your day with intention. Most people wake up and dive straight into chaos, checking their phones, scrolling through negativity, reacting instead of leading. But the unstoppable ones begin their day with clarity. Whether it's a prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply a deep breath and a thought about what they want to accomplish, they don't let the world decide their direction. They choose it. The second habit is moving your body. Energy is everything. You cannot be unstoppable dragging yourself through the day with no fuel in your tank. When you move, you activate focus, confidence, and discipline. It doesn't need to be a 2-hour workout. Even 20 minutes of stretching, walking, or lifting changes how you attack the day. Third, they feed their mind. While others complain, gossip, and scroll, they read, listen, and learn. One podcast, one chapter, one meaningful conversation is all it takes to stay ahead. Every day, they deposit something into their mind that grows into wisdom later. Knowledge compounds just like money, and those deposits make you unshakable. Fourth, they protect their time. Unstoppable people know how valuable their minutes are. They don't waste them on endless distractions or meaningless drama. They set boundaries and stick to them. They don't say yes to everything, because every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. Fifth, they practice gratitude. Sounds simple, but it's powerful. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what I don't have to what I get to do. It keeps you grounded even when life isn't perfect. And when you're grateful, you're resilient, you can take the hits because you're focused on what's still working. Sixth, they act with courage daily. Courage isn't a one-time thing. It's built in small doses. Making that call, speaking up, taking a step when you're not ready. Fear never fully disappears, but courage silences it long enough for you to move. Every act of courage becomes another brick in the wall of unshakable confidence. Seventh, they reflect before they rest. Most people end their day with noise, TV scrolling, distractions. But unstoppable people pause. They ask, what did I do well? What can I do better? What did today teach me? That reflection turns mistakes into lessons and progress into motivation. These habits don't make life easier, but they make you stronger. Stronger in the mind, stronger in the body, and stronger in the spirit. That's why no matter what comes their way, they don't just survive the day, they dominate it. Because being unstoppable isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down every single day. Every single one of us wakes up with two choices: drift through the day hoping for something to happen, or take control and create the kind of life that builds momentum. The difference between people who get stuck and people who rise is not luck, not talent, not who their parents are. It's the habits they practice when no one is watching. Because success is not a grand event that happens one day. It's the little things you repeat every day until they become part of you. That's what makes someone unstoppable. When you wake up, how you start your morning matters more than most people realize. It sets the tone, it sets your energy, it sets your mindset. Too many people open their eyes and immediately hand over control of their day to a screen. They grab their phone, scroll through negativity, and let other people's lives dictate how they feel. That's a habit of the distracted, not of the driven. Unstoppable people rise differently. They set intention. Maybe they sit in silence for 5 minutes, breathing deeply, deciding who they want to be that day. Maybe they write down 3 priorities that matter most. Maybe they take time to pray or meditate or visualize. The action itself isn't as important as the principle. They choose to lead their day before their day leads them. That choice builds a foundation that distractions can't shake later on. Now let's talk about energy. You cannot operate like a machine running on fumes and expect unstoppable results. Your body is the engine for everything else in your life, and if you neglect it, you are literally sabotaging yourself. That's why movement every day is non-negotiable. Not just when you feel like it, not just when you have the time, every day. The people who are unshakable make time to move because they understand discipline is built in those small, consistent actions. Maybe it's a morning run, maybe it's push-ups in the living room, maybe it's yoga at the end of the day. The type doesn't matter. What matters is that they remind themselves daily, I control my body, I control my energy, I control how I show up. And when your energy is strong, your mind is sharper, your decisions are clearer, and your drive is unstoppable. But energy without direction is wasted. That's why the next habit is feeding your mind. Your mind is the command center, and what you put in shapes what comes out. If you fill it with complaints, gossip, endless scrolling, you'll produce nothing but distraction and envy. But when you fill it with books, with podcasts, with inspiring conversations, your mind expands. You start to think differently, see differently, act differently. A person who invests 20 minutes a day reading, learning, sharpening their mind will look unrecognizable compared to the version of themselves a year ago. Knowledge compounds, and unstoppable people are not just reacting to life, they are anticipating it because they have built wisdom through intentional learning. Time is the most precious currency, and most people spend it like it's infinite. But the unstoppable know their time is their life. They guard it like treasure. They don't say yes to every invitation, every demand, every shiny distraction, because they know that every yes has a cost. Saying yes to gossip is saying no to growth. Saying yes to endless scrolling is saying no to focus. Saying yes to drama is saying no to peace. Boundaries are not about being rude, they are about being purposeful. And when you protect your time, you protect your future. Gratitude is another weapon the unstoppable carry. Not because life is always perfect, but because gratitude changes the way they see imperfection. It's easy to focus on what's missing, on what hurts, on what didn't go your way. But gratitude forces you to look at what's working, what's present, what you still have. It builds resilience because when you're grateful, you're less likely to break under pressure. Gratitude is not weakness. It is strength disguised in humility. The person who can say thank you in the middle of the storm is the person who walks out of it stronger. Now, let's be honest, fear will always try to whisper in your ear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what people will say. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting in spite of it. The unstoppable train themselves to do something that scares them every day, no matter how small. Make the call. Start the project. Have the tough conversation. Step into the unknown even when your knees are shaking. Because every time you act with courage, you teach yourself a new truth: fear does not control me. And the more you repeat that lesson, the more unstoppable you become. At the end of the day, reflection separates the ones who grow from the ones who stay stuck. Most people close their eyes at night and let the day vanish without a second thought. But the unstoppable ask themselves questions before they rest. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What lesson is hidden inside the mistake I made? Reflection turns your day into a teacher. It transforms failure into feedback and progress into motivation. That habit alone ensures that every day, whether good or bad, was never wasted. Unstoppable people understand that life is not about perfection. It's about progression. You don't need to win every battle. You just need to keep showing up with the habits that build strength. Over time, these 7 daily actions create a person who doesn't just weather the storm, but becomes the storm. The world notices people like that. Opportunities find people like that. Respect follows people like that. Think about this. You don't need to be extraordinary all at once. You just need to be consistent in the ordinary. One day of setting intention may not change your life. One workout may not change your body. One book may not transform your mind. But stacked together day after day, those habits rewrite your identity. Suddenly, you're not just someone trying to get better, you are someone unstoppable. There will be days when you don't feel like doing it. Days when the bed feels heavier, the phone feels louder, the excuses feel stronger. That's when you remind yourself, I'm not doing this for today. I'm doing this for the person I'm becoming. The habits are not for comfort, they are for transformation. And transformation requires discomfort. Unstoppable people don't chase easy, they chase growth. Your environment matters too. The company you keep can either fuel your habits or destroy them. Surround yourself with people who value their time, who protect their energy, who encourage growth. Being unstoppable doesn't mean walking alone. It means choosing wisely who walks with you. If your circle is filled with people who complain, who settle, who fear, you will absorb their habits. But if your circle is filled with people who push, who rise, who live intentionally, your habits will elevate. The beautiful thing about habits is they don't require talent, they require choice. You don't need permission, you don't need credentials, you don't need someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, no, you're ready. You are ready the moment you decide to take action. That decision repeated daily is what builds momentum. And once momentum is on your side, you become very hard to stop. Every person has a choice to live reactive or proactive. To let life happen or to happen to life. The difference lies in these small, daily decisions that seem insignificant in the moment but compound into unstoppable strength. The truth is, anyone can build these habits. Most people just won't because they confuse simple with easy. The habits are simple, but they demand consistency, and consistency demands discipline. But those who pay that price discover something most people never will, that being unstoppable is not about never falling down, but about building the strength to rise every single time you do. Most people think being unstoppable means you're never tired, never doubting, never afraid. But that's not the truth. The truth is, unstoppable people feel all of those things. They feel fear, they feel weakness, they feel doubt. The difference is that they've trained themselves not to be ruled by those feelings. They've built habits that carry them even when their emotions try to pull them down. Discipline beats mood every single time. And that's what most people miss. They wait to feel ready, not realizing readiness is a myth. Action creates readiness. You act first and the feeling comes later. You can see this in every area of life. The person who waits until they feel like exercising will never build consistency. The person who waits until they feel confident will never speak up. The person who waits until they feel brave will never take the first step. But the one who understands that habits are the anchor, that no matter how I feel, this is what I do, becomes unstoppable. Feelings are temporary, but habits build identity. And when your identity shifts, your destiny shifts. Think about intention again. When you start your day without it, you hand the wheel of your life over to circumstances. You're driving blind, swerving at every obstacle, reacting to every distraction. But when you set intention, you're behind the wheel. You're steering, you're directing, you're leading. That one simple choice at the beginning of the day creates momentum. Momentum that carries into every decision after it. And momentum is powerful because once you're moving, it's harder to stop. Now, imagine coupling that with energy. Imagine starting your morning by commanding your body, by reminding it who's in charge. Movement wakes you up not just physically, but mentally. It signals to your brain we're in control, we're building discipline, we're choosing growth. That feeling of sweat on your skin, of your heart pumping, of your lungs filling with air, it tells you you're alive, you're capable, you're ready. That's not just exercise, that's confidence training. Because every time you finish, you've proven to yourself that you can keep promises to your body. And if you can keep promises to your body, you can keep promises to your goals. But a strong body without a strong mind is wasted potential. That's why unstoppable people feed their mind with something that stretches them. A book that challenges their thinking, a conversation with someone wiser, a podcast that shifts their perspective. They treat their mind like a muscle. It grows stronger the more they train it. Because here's the truth, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. And if your habit is consuming junk, mental junk, emotional junk, you will collapse under pressure. But if your habit is consuming wisdom, discipline, encouragement, you'll stand tall when it matters. That's why time becomes sacred. Once you recognize how valuable it is, you stop giving it away so carelessly. The unstoppable say no more than they say yes, because they understand that focus is more valuable than being busy. Most people confuse activity with progress. They stay busy all day but move nowhere. The unstoppable focus on the vital few instead of the trivial many. They guard their schedule, they guard their energy, they guard their priorities, not because they're selfish, but because they know their purpose is worth protecting. And while they're moving with intention, with energy, with focus, they remain grounded through gratitude. Gratitude is what stops pride from corrupting progress. Gratitude is what keeps you centered when life doesn't go your way. It's easy to complain, easy to see what's missing, easy to dwell on what hurts. But gratitude shifts your eyes to what's already present. It turns obstacles into perspective. It whispers, yes, this is hard, but look at what you still have. Look at how far you've come. Look at what's still possible. Gratitude makes you resilient, and resilience makes you unstoppable. Then comes courage. Courage is the muscle most people never flex. They think it's something you either have or you don't. But courage is a habit like anything else. It grows when you use it. Every small act of courage becomes fuel for a bigger one. And courage doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as saying what you really think instead of what people want to hear. Sometimes it's starting the thing you've been putting off. Sometimes it's showing up again after failure. Fear never disappears, but courage reminds you that fear is just noise, not a command. And the more you act despite fear, the less power it has over you. At night, the reflection habit ties it all together. Reflection is like checking the map after a long journey. Did I move closer to where I want to go? Did I waste time on detours? What lessons did the day bring? Without reflection, you repeat mistakes. With reflection, you turn mistakes into teachers. And unstoppable people never let a day go to waste. They extract value even from the hard ones, because they know progress isn't about winning every day, it's about learning every day. So picture it: every morning intention, everyday movement, everyday learning, everyday boundaries, everyday gratitude, everyday courage, every night reflection. Layer after layer, these habits build you into someone unrecognizable from the person who started. Not overnight, but over time, and that's the point. The world looks at the results and calls it talent. But the truth is, it's just discipline. It's just choices. It's just habits. The habits you repeat daily write the story of who you become. And the ones who choose wisely, they become unstoppable. You see, the habits themselves aren't complicated. What makes them powerful is the consistency. Anyone can wake up with intention one morning. Anyone can do a workout once in a while. Anyone can read a book or practice gratitude when life feels good. That's not what makes you unstoppable. What makes you unstoppable is doing it when you don't feel like it. Doing it when nobody's watching. Doing it when it would be easier to roll over, easier to give in, easier to postpone it until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the lie that steals more dreams than failure ever will. The unstoppable know that today is the only day they can control, and they use it. Think about how many times people sabotage themselves by waiting. Waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting until they feel ready. But waiting is just another form of fear. Readiness isn't a gift that shows up one morning and taps you on the shoulder. Readiness is built in the process, in the repetition, in the doing. When you show up, when you take action, when you stumble and learn, that's when readiness grows. Every single day you show up to your habits, you're proving to yourself that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. And that's the secret the world doesn't talk about. It's not the loud victories that shape your life, it's the quiet disciplines. The things no one claps for, no one celebrates, no one even notices. Waking up early and writing down your goals. Choosing a workout instead of another hour of scrolling. Saying no to a distraction even when it costs you popularity. Those small, hidden decisions compound into something unshakable. They harden your character, sharpen your focus, and anchor your resolve. The reason so many people quit is because they don't see results fast enough. They want the transformation in a week, the breakthrough in a month, the success in a season. But unstoppable people understand that greatness is slow, cooked, not microwaved. They don't chase instant gratification, they chase lasting impact. And the only way to build that is brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. The tree doesn't grow because you water it once. It grows because you keep watering it, even when you don't see progress above the soil. That's how habits work. You don't see the roots forming, but every drop is building something strong beneath the surface. And yes, there will be resistance. There will be days you doubt yourself, days you feel stuck, days you wonder if the effort is worth it. But those are the days that count the most. Those are the days that separate the unstoppable from the rest. Anybody can keep going when it's easy. But when it's difficult, when it's exhausting, when it feels like you're pushing a mountain uphill, that's where your habits become your armor. That's where discipline carries you when motivation disappears. So when you wake up tomorrow, remind yourself, it doesn't matter how I feel, it matters what I do. My habits are my identity. My habits are my fuel. My habits are my proof that I am moving forward no matter what comes against me. Because the truth is, the world doesn't stop throwing challenges your way. Life will always test you, always pressure you, always push back. But if you've built the habits, you'll be ready. You'll be the kind of person who doesn't crack under pressure, but rises through it. And when people look at you and wonder how you keep going, how you keep standing, how you keep rising, you'll know the answer. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not fate, it's daily choices, it's the habits that made you unstoppable. Every time you build one of these habits into your life, you are quietly rewriting the story of who you are. At first, it feels small, it feels insignificant. You write down your intentions for the day and wonder if it really matters. You do 20 push-ups in the morning and wonder if it really changes anything. You pick up a book instead of your phone and wonder if it makes a difference. But what you don't see in the moment is that each of these small acts is a vote for your future self. Every choice is a message to your brain. This is who I am becoming, and the brain listens slowly. Without you even noticing, you shift from being someone who tries to someone who is. That is the real power of habit. You don't need to wait for massive wins. You need to stack small victories. The day you wake up and set intention is a victory. The day you move your body when you don't feel like it is a victory. The day you choose to read instead of complain is a victory. Stack enough of those victories, and one morning you'll look back and realize you've built a momentum so strong that nothing can slow you down. People will call you lucky, but you'll know better. You weren't lucky. You were consistent. Now, understand this: distractions are always going to be louder than discipline. The world is engineered to pull your attention in 1,000 directions at once. Notifications, entertainment, noise, opinions. Everything is designed to keep you reactive. But you cannot be unstoppable if you live in reaction. You become unstoppable when you train yourself to respond instead of react, to choose instead of chase, to focus instead of scatter. And the way you do that is by controlling your time. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's why protecting it is not selfish, it's essential. When you guard your time, you create space for what matters. You create space to grow. You create space to rest. You create space to build the life you actually want instead of the one everyone else is living. And here's the secret. People may not understand it at first. They may not understand why you don't show up to every invitation, why you don't answer every call, why you don't engage in every drama. But eventually the results of your discipline speak louder than their doubts. Gratitude also keeps your heart steady while you climb, because let's be honest, growth isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it feels like you're giving more than you're receiving. But gratitude reminds you of what's still working. Gratitude reminds you of how far you've already come. Gratitude keeps you from quitting when progress feels slow. A grateful heart is hard to defeat because it always finds a reason to keep going. And when gratitude steadies you, courage pushes you. You can't avoid fear. Fear is wired into all of us, but fear only wins if you let it. Every act of courage you take, big or small, is a step into freedom. Freedom from the opinions of others. Freedom from the limitations of your past. Freedom from the weight of your own doubts. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel afraid. Courage means you move even while you're afraid. And every time you move, the fear loses just a little bit more power. At night, reflection ties it all together. Because without reflection, days blur together. You don't see the progress you've made. You don't catch the mistakes you keep repeating. You don't appreciate the lessons life is trying to teach you. Reflection slows you down just enough to notice, to adjust, to grow intentionally. The unstoppable don't just live on autopilot. They live awake, aware, and aligned. So imagine this cycle repeating day after day. Waking up with clarity, fueling your body with energy, feeding your mind with wisdom, guarding your time like treasure, grounding yourself with gratitude, stepping forward in courage, closing the day with reflection. That cycle builds strength. That cycle builds resilience. That cycle builds momentum. And momentum is the real secret weapon, because once you have it, once you feel it, once it carries you forward, it becomes harder to stop than to keep going. That's when people look at you and say, how do they do it? How do they keep showing up? How do they keep moving forward no matter what? And you'll know it wasn't one grand decision. It was the daily ones. At the end of the day, becoming unstoppable isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about creating the right habits. Those 7 daily choices may look small on their own, but together they build a life that can't be shaken by setbacks, criticism, or fear. And the truth is, anyone can build them. You don't need special talent. You don't need a lucky break. You don't need permission. All you need is the discipline to show up, the courage to keep going, and the belief that every small step matters. So when tomorrow comes, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Choose one habit and do it. Then choose another. Then repeat it the next day and the next. Because when you do, you'll look back one day and realize that you didn't just survive, you became unstoppable.